The only driver that I would say really deserves a shot at it is probably Joseph Newgarden at the time. I mean, the guy's American, Formula One teams, I really cannot stress this enough. It is very anti-American. You have Haas itself, who is an American team, who that Günther Steiner literally is the most condescending person ever about American drivers. And I was like, you literally race under the American flag. And it's astounding that is being said. So
why is it, do you think, that it's been, there haven't been that many successful American drivers, or that haven't been at least consistently in a lot of them?
Well, I mean, there are many reasons. First of all, there's a lack of support from our country, financially. You see a lot of drivers that are literally supported by their countries, and they get the support that they need. I think immediately, Felipe Nasr, his sponsor on his car was Bank of Brazil. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, there you go. You got a lot of drivers with investment behind them that is very large. And we, both Alex and I mean, Alex had a great system, Alexander Rossi. He had a great support system, some great investors that did get him to Formula One. But we're already, looked at as not good enough to be there because of just because of it's for no reason other than like Formula One is Europe's thing. Like it's not our thing. And I totally don't mind that thought process. Cause like, look, we know that it's difficult to go over there. We know that it's going to be, challenging against a lot of the best guys in the world. But I think when you look at, certain situations, we definitely don't get enough credit for what we have done. You know what I mean? Like for what Alex did, winning as many races as he did. And, sometimes I think it's just overlooked because there are a lot of drivers over there as well. So I don't know what it's going to take. I think honestly, what it's going to take is a massive investment from someone and an exciting young American talent. I mean, there still hasn't been any winners since me in F3 from America. So like, I'm trying to, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I would love to support any young American driver who goes over there and who does that, because I want to see an American in Formula One without a doubt. But they're definitely not going to be looking at IndyCar for that just because it just hasn't happened in, 30, 40 years.
It's such a shame because, someone like Rossi, who didn't have the best Formula One career in the world, but went out to IndyCar and is killing it. He's done brilliantly in IndyCar. The guy's clearly got bags of talent. And it's a shame when you look at the likes of Carlin, who, you've got experience with Carlin, obviously, British team that have gone out to IndyCar and have been welcomed with open arms. And are now doing really well. It's really pleasing to see. And IndyCar has British drivers. They've welcomed the likes of Max with Carlin and others. And it's such a pity. I think F1 is not as bad as it was with F1 arrogance, but it definitely still exists. And I totally agree that American drivers have been overlooked. And people like, Scott Dixon, okay, he's not American, but he's racing in IndyCar. He's got to be one of the greatest racing drivers that many people who are an armchair fan in the UK have never heard of. And what sort of a travesty is that? I mean, how good is Scott? I mean, you've raced with him. How good is Scott Dixon?
Well, Scott's very good. He's very smart, but he's also, super, super, clean. Everything about him, clean cut, very fit, good guy, great family. But yeah, I mean, I think there are many drivers that would agree that, guys like Will Power in qualifying could go up against Lewis Hamilton in qualifying. Will Power can do something so good in qualifying in an IndyCar and, on the softer tires, getting a lap out of it. Lewis Hamilton does those same thing in Formula One cars, right? Like he's very good at qualifying. And I think Scott Dixon, I mean, there are obviously, you could think of hypothetical situations all day, but completely would agree that if there was ever somehow a head-to-head matchup, put everyone in the Mercedes, right? You put Dixon in there, you put Newgarden in there, you put Rossi, you put any of us who are at the front. I truly believe there would be a little bit smaller of a gap than a lot of Formula One fans would think, but that's never going to happen.